Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. In this video we're going to be going over the 22.5 update, and this is going to introduce some new things to the game and some fixes to things that are currently in the game already. I'm going to be going over the introduction post from the forums and giving my thoughts on each section as we go. It says, "Greetings survivors, the team has been working hard on updating Road to Survival and tackling fixes for as many issues as possible. While the update is still a few weeks out after War of Champions, we wanted to give you a preview of what's to come." And as you can see, the first thing to be added is going to be self-friendly duels. At long last, self-friendly duels are here. Theorycraft crazy defense teams and test them out. Players will now have the ability to duel their own friendly team defense teams in the duel menu with the faction menu interface. Players must be in a faction to fight themselves. This will hopefully give players some much needed insight into how their defense teams perform and allow for tweaks and changes to do even better in PvP events. I think this has been something that has been requested pretty much since friendly duels were introduced, just so you can better see yourself rather than getting a friend to attack it, maybe record it, send it to you, or get their thoughts. This will give you your, you can do this yourself. Hopefully we're not going to see this in the faction logs, because I can see this happening a lot where people just raiding themselves. It's like, yeah, lockdown, raided lockdown like 25 times, and then like the next person in my faction's done the same, raiding themselves just to check out their team. You want to do small tweaks. I kind of like this idea. Obviously, this is going to be a great implementation, just improves friendly duels a lot, which is already pretty good. And then of course you can tweak it yourself, then ask your faction to attack you, because it's always good to get other people's input as well. People have different attack teams, people have different strategies, people focusing damage, focusing control, so it's always good to get other people's input afterwards, but this is a great addition. The next one talks about a content refresh, and this means to certain wheels and things like that. It says, expect to see new, more powerful fighters in 5-star recruits and prestige recruits. We've also reduced the overall number of ascendable fighters in each pool, but no odds are changing. This means that when you acquire an ascendable from either of these sources, they should be powerful and strengthen your roster. New fighters are also coming to war recruits. The pool of fighters has been expanded and they're stronger than ever before. Now, I've got mixed feelings on this. Obviously, it really depends on the characters that are being introduced. There is always going to be that Duff character in every single wheel, for whatever reason. They always want it. So, 7% chance of getting an ascendable on that 5-star token wheel means all of those characters should be legit. Should all be usable at a top level, because the chances of even getting one is really, really slim. I'm on a really bad streak right now of about 60 or 70 5-star token pools without getting a single ascendable. And the ones in there right now are not really that game changing, except maybe 1 or 2 in terms of being like a disarm or something like that. The rest aren't that great. There aren't leaders in there. There isn't anything too spectacular. So something like, I would say like the Alices, Diegos, Harrisons, where you can actually build teams with S-class characters around those characters, are very much needed. So we'll have to wait and see what gets introduced here to really break down whether that's a good update or not. But it does need to be changed. So just on the face of it, it's good, but it really depends what characters are going to be added. It's a real big shame that odds are not going to be changed, because 7% is awful. It's an awful experience. 7% chance of getting a 5-star ascendable, the tier down from the top tier. It's not game breaking to get ascendable characters on a more regular basis. It's going to make people use their tokens more often. It's going to make people enjoy the game a bit more, and it's not really going to affect the top level because they're not really game changing characters anymore. The only thing a 5-star ascendable is going to do is give you the potential to use S-class characters. So for instance, if an S-class character was to be released that was strong in the promo wheel and you didn't have any leaders for strong, you wouldn't pull for that character. You see the issue here? Whereas these characters can allow you to do that. War recruits being updated again, same sort of issue in terms of it really depends on what characters are in there. There needs to be some idea of how often they want to refresh this. They should just say, we plan to refresh it again in like 3 months, and then we'll readdress this in 3 months. Just so we know in the future. This is just like random every now and again. The only thing I'll say here is at least they're giving us forewarning on the war recruit wheel being updated this time. Last time they just updated it without saying a word. So if you do like the current wheel, you have to pull your tokens as soon as possible. Next up is draft arena improvements, and it says as players get stronger, it's important that fighters that can be drafted in arena power up as well. With this update, all fighters in draft arenas will be veteran level 30 to match tougher defense teams. Draft pools will also be updated to include more S-class and stronger fighters, and select S-class recruits may even be in drafts before they release. Mixed feelings on this. I do think Draft Arenas is probably the worst arena right now, mainly because of weapons though, and there's nothing here that's changing anything to do with weapons. Generally speaking, the power of weapons in the new armory, you cannot match that with default weapons. You cannot. And just AP gain on those weapons on defense teams is already so powerful because they're getting the AP faster. You're not going to be getting your rushes very quick on an attack team. You're going to rely heavily on those active skills, and the weapons, like I said, is the biggest issue for me. Now, at least the stats are going to be improved effectively on an attack team now. Now, there are no mods for the defense team, so it's a bit more equal when it comes to that. Like, effectively, a full vet ring character on a defense team was full stat modded versus a draft character, so it's going to be a bit more even, which is decent. I'll have to play it to really get a better feeling, but I still think that weapons are going to be an issue. I think it's obvious that weapons are still going to be an issue. I think that an attack team in Draft Arenas should get a little bit of an AP on attack boost, like something very, very small, like medium boost, just because they're not getting consistent AP gain off of their weapons versus what a defense team can do. Next up, it says token multi-opens, and it says players should now be able to use multiple tokens at once when opening stashes or special event wheels. This should reduce the need to use stash pools one at a time after saving up tokens. That is obviously really good just in terms of saving time, and I'm going to say it now, expect an early free-to-play stash to test this out, because obviously they will want to test this out once it goes live, make sure it's 100% working. So hopefully we get a nice stash when it does get released. There are also a lot of combat fixes in here, and there are also other fixes in here that are coming. I'm not going to go through all of them because there are a lot. I will scroll through them now if you just want to pause and just read at any point. But I will highlight a couple which I think are interesting. There was one about Faction Assault. Let me see if I can just quickly find it. So this one here says fixed issues with Faction Assault animations, and if you know, there was the talk of a new tier in Faction Assault and also a Faction Assault event coming late last year or early this year. It has been a little bit slower than I think a lot of people anticipated, but this shows that they are looking at this. There is a fix coming in this new update, so potentially we could see the Faction Assault event on the horizon. And similarly, this one right here is about Walker Hordes. And as you know, Walker Hordes has not been around for a little while. It says heal reduction can now be applied to Walker Horde turrets. So this is a really small change, but it means they are looking at fixing stuff within Walker Hordes. So Walker Hordes again could make a comeback, which is great because a lot of people like that, including myself. It's a nice break from the normal gameplay that we have. It's very different than the rest, and it's actually quite enjoyable for a lot of people. A lot of people do enjoy Walker Hordes. Here are the other fixes, and I'll just scroll through these as well just so you can quickly see. As you can see, if you want to pause again and just read through them a little bit, I will highlight one or two which I think are important. So we've got various Onslaught UI fixes coming in, so it's something that we've seen quite a lot in the recent times is Onslaught, but this is just confirmation that we are due to probably see it more again in the future. And this update here should probably be in the combat fixes, but it looks like Hold the Line was not stacking properly with other buffs. And generally speaking, when you see something get fixed, like an older specialist skill, it means we could potentially be seeing an S-Class Hold the Line character coming in the future. And an S-Class Hold the Line character would actually be pretty strong, especially in the early stages of S-Class. It's harder to take out S-Class characters versus 6-star characters on defense teams. And Hold the Line, when all of your teammates are dead, gives you a 100% boost in attack and defense, and that's a huge buff. It's 25% per character that has been killed on your team, and generally speaking, they can make very good defense team characters. So that's the end of my video, guys, just looking at the upcoming 22.5 update. Once it goes live in beta, I will test out some of the functionality. I'm very interested to see self-friendly duels. This is obviously a great update. This is something that was introduced into the game when Walker Hordes came in, because you could duel yourself in Walker Hordes. So in my opinion, it was only a matter of time before self-friendly duels came in. It maybe took a bit longer than most people would have expected, but it is coming to the game at long last, as it says, at long last. So it is good. Do tell me what part of the update you're looking forward to the most. Are there any issues, bugs that are in the game currently that you didn't see outlined to be fixed in the update? Do make a comment and I'll try and pass that information along. Thank you very much for tuning into my video, guys. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.